With 2022 in the rearview mirror, it's time to look ahead at the games coming out this year. Before we get on with this video, comment what games you're looking forward to. Now, keep in mind, this is my list, so if you disagree with the game I've included, make your own list. With that out of the way, let's get to the games! I've never watched One Piece. However, I am intrigued by this one. It's rare you find a brand new turn-based JRPG in this day and age. Just from looking at the game's trailers and screenshots, you can tell Bandai Namco have actually given this title a decent-sized budget. Yet another rarity in this relatively niche subgenre of an already niche genre. While I know almost nothing about the source material, I am excited for this game just to have yet another turn-based game to play. In terms of turn-based JRPGs, though, we are getting a ton this year, and that has me salivating. Speaking of turn-based games, the next two on our list are in fact turn-based. One Piece Odyssey will release on January 13th for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles. While most people bemoan the fact that this is the portable version of the game, and not the FES version, or FES, as some people call it, I'm just excited to finally be able to play this game. My first Persona experience was Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita. Needless to say, I love that game. I really loved Persona 5, and then when I played Persona 5 Royal, yeah, I loved that too. I really hope this game sells well so that we get either remakes or remasters of the first two Persona games, just so we can have all of the mainline Persona games playable on modern hardware. If you have any experience with either version of Persona 3, comment below. Persona 3 Portable will release on the 19th of January for PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles. Our next game is also a Persona game. Ah yes, my entryway into this venerable franchise. Persona 4 Golden focuses on a murder mystery in a small Japanese town, and it apes the style of the British mystery novel. I love that style of novel, and I love the atmosphere of Persona 4 as a whole. I played this game in my last semester of college when I was getting incredibly sick because I was so run down. I'm super excited to revisit this game and to be able to stream it. Link for my Twitch channel will be in the description. Seeing this game release on modern hardware is a great thing because it'll give the game a new lease on life. Persona 4 Golden will release for Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles on January 19th. Forspoken was first announced as Project Athia at the PlayStation 5 showcase in 2020. It's an action RPG that, according to Square Enix, will be character-driven and story-focused. This game is helmed by a lot of the creative team behind Final Fantasy XV. For those interested, there is currently a demo of Forspoken up on the PlayStation Store. I haven't played this demo yet, as I know I'll get this game eventually. I'm just in no real rush to check it out, as there are a lot of other games coming this year I'm more excited for. Forspoken was supposed to release on May 24th of 2022, then October 11th of the same year. This game is slated for January 24th for PC and PlayStation 5. Okay, this game comes with a major caveat. As of right now, Disgaea 7 has no release date for the West, and NIS America have stated they have no plans to release this game in the West. However, Disgaea is a big series for its parent company, and it's quite popular in the West because there aren't too many tactical RPGs on the market right now. I imagine we're likely getting the localization later in the year. Basically, if you like comedic stories, quirky characters, and over-the-top scenarios, Disgaea is a series you're going to really enjoy. In the meantime, Disgaea 6 released in both 2021 and 2022 for the rest of the world, so give that one a look in the meantime. Disgaea 7 will release for Switch, PS4, and PS5 on January 26th. I know I'm going to catch some heat for saying I'm excited for this game because of J.K. Rowling's less than savory viewpoints. It's because of this backlash I've decided I will not create any content surrounding this game. However, I will buy a used copy and enjoy it on my own time because Harry Potter was such a special part of my childhood, and this is the type of game I've always wanted to experience in that setting. This is also one of the games that 100% sold me on the PS5 when it was shown at the first PlayStation 5 showcase in 2020. If you like magic, Harry Potter, or open world RPGs with tons of content to explore, this game is for you. Hogwarts Legacy will fly off shelves via broomstick into your consoles on February 10th for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles, with a last gen and Switch port later in the year. A lot of gamers are bemoaning the fact the PlayStation 4 and PS5 generation has been full of nothing but remakes and remasters. That's not to say these releases don't have their place in gaming, because they certainly do. They needn't be the sin of gaming a lot of people make them out to be. In fact, they can be beneficial to not just developers and publishers by allowing new audiences to experience some of the gaming greats. Remasters and remakes also come with the added bonus of allowing devs and publishers to recoup some of the research and development costs of bigger budget titles. They can also be used to judge the public's interest in new games within that series. I have some experience with the Tales of series. I started with Tales of Xillia, which I absolutely adored. I then tried out Tales of Xillia 2, which I thought was pretty good, but didn't grip me in quite the same way. Tales of Zestiria had me interested in the story and the lore, but the gameplay absolutely killed it for me. Its companion game, Tales of Berseria, did much more to hold my attention, as I felt the gameplay was a marked improvement. I even really liked the story. However, I lost all of my progress midway through the game, as my PS4 died on me, and this was a multi-time occurrence. Honestly, with really long games like these, experiencing the grind in the same areas over and over again, and reliving the same story beats just gets old, to the point where you just give up because you don't want to get to the point you were previously at. I even streamed a bit of Tales of Arise, which I loved, but I got distracted by other games at the time. That is, despite loving my short 5-hour stint with Arise. The other Tales of game I have some experience with is Vesperia. Yet another game I was enjoying massively, but stopped streaming it because of the dreaded block scenes bullshit, which is an issue if you're a straight-from-console streamer like I am. So why am I so bloody excited for Tales of Symphonia, which is merely a remaster of a nearly 20-year-old game? It's in no small part because the game simply seems like it'd be a lot of fun, and the series is known for being consistent in quality. However, while I'm here, Bamco, why not remaster Tales of Abyss next, as that game really seems interesting? Tales of Symphonia Remastered will come to Switch, Xbox One, and PS4 on February 17th. I'll be honest, I have no idea how to properly say the title of Like a Dragon Ishin, as I struggle with Japanese pronunciation, as I don't speak the language. So if I'm butchering the game's nomenclature, I apologize. I'm interested in this remake of the 2014 title, as I'm a massive fan of the Yakuza series. This game is a Yakuza spin-off after all. It's set in the Edo period of Japan, and you play as a low-ranking samurai. The gameplay is a hack-and-slash, action-adventure beat-em-up, and retains the quirky sense of humor the Yakuza franchise is known for. There are multiple combat styles in this game as well: swordsman where you sling a katana, gunslinger where you fire a gun, brawler which plays like a traditional Yakuza title, and wild dancer which uses both the katana and the gun. Like a Dragon Ishin is a ground-up remake utilizing Unreal Engine 4. This game will be available for Xbox One and Series consoles, along with PS4 and PS5, and will be available from February 21st. Long title is long. I really enjoy the Atelier games. For those that don't know, the Atelier franchise has been around since 1997. Its primary audience is mostly directed at young girls, as the protagonists are mostly teenage girls coming of age. The majority of the franchise has focused on turn-based combat and ingredient gathering to then craft new items. The core mechanics of collecting ingredients and crafting newer and better items remains the same. However, with the newer Ryza-centric titles, the combat has changed to have some mild action RPG elements, while still feeling mostly turn-based. I've yet to even complete the first Ryza game, let alone the second game. And it's not that they're bad games, it's just a case of my feeling burnt out on long RPGs every time I try to play it. That's on me. As a whole, the Atelier series of games are very chill. Atelier Ryza 3 is slated for release on Switch, PC, PS4, and PS5 on February 22nd in Japan, and the 24th for the rest of the world. I've never gotten the opportunity to play the first Octopath game, nor have I played the mobile game Octopath Traveller Champions of the Continent, nor do I particularly want to play said mobile game. The first game, a charming 2D turn-based JRPG released for the Switch in 2018, and just under a year later got a PC port with a Google Stadia release in 2020, and an Xbox One port in 2021. Really? The Xbox One got a JRPG port? Weird. As of late 2022, the first game has sold over 3 million copies, which for a small budget niche title is excellent. Thankfully, I won't need to play the first game to understand the story in Octopath 2. It does, however, retain the charming HD 2D sprite art the first game was famous for, and it definitely looks stunning. Honestly, after being starved for years of high-caliber turn-based RPGs, fan of the style are really eating good. I'm so excited for this game just because it feeds my turn-based gameplay addiction. Octopath Traveller 2 will release on February 24th for Switch, PC, PS4, and PS5. Of all the games that came out last year, The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero was easily my most anticipated. While it didn't win my Game of the Year award, it did live up to the hype I had for it. I'm still plucking away at it because I'm savoring the experience. I found I can't rush Trails games despite them being my favorite game series of all time. While I am really excited for Trails to Azure, it's not exactly the game I'm most excited for this year, though that honor does still belong to a Trails game as we're getting 3 releases this year. Fun fact for you about Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure, and Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. These games take place concurrently to each other. I experienced the Cold Steel events first. Another fun fact, Azure is the final Trails game to use the 2D sprite-based graphics the series had been using for 5 straight games. It also took over a decade for Westerners to see the release. Trails to Azure will release for PC, Switch, and PS4 on March 14th in North America, March 17th in the EU, and the 24th for Australia. To be honest, I've never had much interest in the Resident Evil series. I'm not that big a fan of horror. I hate tank controls the first few games were known for, and while I don't mind puzzles in my games, I hate cryptic ones that require a lot of backtracking. However, I know Resi 4 is the game that changed the formula quite a bit, and I actually think the combination this game is known for is what'll finally get me to try out this series. Also, since it's third person, unlike Resi 7 and 8, it won't give me any motion sickness or vertigo issues, so this is actually a game I could play. Also, if you've seen it, it looks disgustingly gorgeous! Resi 4 Remake is slated for a release on March 24th for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series consoles as well. I've never been a fan of Street Fighter. I can't quite tell you why. I think it's possibly because the series has always been more focused on grounded gameplay and footsies. I hate footsies and will be releasing a video on that at some point in the future. However, from what I've seen of the Street Fighter 6 beta, this game seems to have done away with the footsie-heavy gameplay. It also looks absolutely gorgeous, utilizing the Resident Evil engine in a less realistic-looking manner. It also will have a ton of single-player content, something I'm always begging fighting game developers to focus on. Another reason I'm well and truly excited for this 2D fighter is because it looks like it'll be the first truly next-generation fighter, despite appearing on last-generation hardware. Street Fighter 6 will release on June 2nd for PC, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles. It has been a long time since I can genuinely say I'm truly excited for a new Final Fantasy title. Don't get me wrong, I am excited to delve into Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core thanks to a kind friend, We Go Boom Gaming on Twitch, gifting me the game for Christmas. I'll be streaming it soon. However, when I saw Final Fantasy XVI at the first PS5 showcase, I was well and truly excited. When I found out the combat designer for Devil May Cry 5, Ryota Suzuki, was handling some of the responsibilities for Final Fantasy XVI, I was sold. I'm also super intrigued by the darker tone this game is taking, as this will be the first mainline Final Fantasy title to have an M for Mature rating in the West. Exciting stuff. The game is slated for a June 22nd release exclusively for PS5. Now this is my potential Game of the Year candidate. It's the concluding chapter in Rien Schwarzer's story, a character who's really important to me, and it's the last game developed by Nihon Falcom that runs Sony's Fire Engine. It's slated for a release on Switch, PC, PS4, and PS5 on July 7th, just in time for my birthday on July 18th. I know what I'm going to be spending my birthday doing, and if anybody tries distracting me from it, there'll be hell to pay. Like I said earlier, turn-based fans are eating good this year, and Falcom fans are eating especially rich meals this year. I will admit to owning a few previous generation Armored Core games. I haven't gotten around to playing them all that much, It's not because I haven't wanted to, it's just because I know what time sinks this series tends to be, tweaking your mech to perfection. With how I am, it'd probably be the only game I would play for a very long time. However, after a long hiatus, the series developed by From Software is finally making a comeback. The last proper Armored Core game came out in 2012, with an expansion in 2013. Needless to say, the series has been gone for far too long. Bandai Namco announced at the Game Awards that this game would be coming out at some point in 2023 for PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles. Needless to say, hardcore mech fans are going to be very happy. I'll be honest, when I first saw Crash Team Rumble, I was confused as to what the game actually was. I also complained about the game's nomenclature as it abbreviates to CTR, and we already have a CTR. However, now that I know for sure it's a MOBA, a genre of game I've never gotten into, I can say I'm mildly excited, mostly because I trust the development team Toys for Bob. They haven't disappointed me yet, the rushed feeling of Spyro 3's remake notwithstanding. But I digress. I love the art style Toys for Bob started using with Crash 4, and I love they're continuing it here. Maybe this will be the first MOBA game I truly get into. Crash Team Rumble has no slated release date. It was formerly known as Wampa League, and will be available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series consoles. Eiyuden Chronicles is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series and features talent who worked on that particular franchise. For those that don't know, Suikoden was a strategy RPG popular on the PS1. Eiyuden Chronicles will also be a tactical RPG. It features absolutely gorgeous HD 2D artwork. Also, Eiyuden Chronicles was a Kickstarter project initially announced in July of 2020. For those wanting to play the action RPG that serves as a prologue for the entry, can do so by picking up Eiyuden Chronicles Rising right now. Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes has no slated release date, and will be available for PC, Xbox One, and Series consoles, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. I have loved dinosaurs since I was a kid. Surprisingly, I've never really been into shooters, unless it was Insomniac's Resistance series. But ExoPrimal, for whatever reason, seems really fun, exciting, and interesting to me. It has an over-the-top style to it. Seriously, in the trailers, it's raining dinosaurs! This is like a dream come true for me, having a surrealist game featuring dinosaurs. I also love how bright and dynamic the colors seem. My only concern is the game is a first-person shooter, and those tend to trigger my vertigo and motion sickness. However, with accessibility options, this might be less of an issue for me. ExoPrimal has no release date as of yet, and will be available on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but for whatever reason my love of Final Fantasy has been rekindled. There's no release date for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth quite yet. All we know is it's estimated to be a Q3 release window, which I believe will be pushed back into Q1 of 2024, or even the second quarter. This entry may age poorly. FF7 Rebirth is slated to release as a timed PS5 exclusive, then make its way to PC at some point. I've yet to play the first Fuga game, however, it looks like a game I'd enjoy. I do like tactical RPGs after all. It also has a very charming aesthetic to the graphics, which is another selling point. The first game was lauded for having a good story. I imagine the second will be no different. As of right now, the release date is unknown, other than a vague answer of 2023. It'll be available for PC, Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles. Team Cherry have been slaving away at this game for so long you'd think their families would be sending search parties for them. I can practically hear editor Belmont salivating at the mere mention of this game. He is, after all, mad for Metroidvanias. I absolutely adored the first Hollow Knight game, even though I'm yet to complete it. Its charming HD 2D sprite work is second to none. Its sound design is superb, and the game just feels right to control. I especially love that it looks like it'd be a video game developed by Tim Burton, as the characters all have a Burton-esque quality to them. I'm a big fan of Tim Burton in general. While we're here, why don't we talk about my favorite Tim Burton film? Mine is 1989's Batman. But I'm getting off topic. Silksong is expected to release in either Q1 or Q2 of this year, and will be available for every fucking system you can think of. We don't know when Lollipop Chainsaw's remake will come out. We don't even know what systems it'll release for. Those two facts are concerning and may imply that 2024 is the earliest release date we'll see for this game. I'll be honest, the original Lollipop Chainsaw was a guilty pleasure game for me when it came out in 2012. Sometimes goofy, fanservice heavy action games are just the best content out there. While this game will have some changes from the original, it does feature a lot of the original creative team, and I am absolutely excited for it because you just know it's going to be gorgeous graphically. I'm glad we're getting some PS3 and Xbox 360 era games remade. Now Sony, get on remaking Folklore, please! This game is set between the events of Yakuza 6, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Yakuza 8, the later of which will release in 2024. This Yakuza spin-off will feature longtime series protagonist Kazuma Kiryu as the main character. The game was announced with the previous Yakuza title on this list, along with Yakuza 8 on September 14th of last year. Not much is known about the gameplay or release window yet, other than 2023 and the consoles for which it's slated to come out on. Those being PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. I loved 2018 Spider-Man. It was the ultimate Spider-Man experience for me, finally topping the PS2 era's Spider-Man 2. I also loved the mini-sequel, Spider-Man Miles Morales. However, I still haven't completed it. Yeah, my backlog is growing into massive mountains of shame. You'd think as a content creator, you'd have more time for gaming, but somehow, you don't. I will complete that game before this game comes out. The details on an exact release date are scant, but we have a rough idea this game will come out in the middle portion of this year. It'll be exclusive to PS5 and should be a magnificent showcase of the PlayStation 5's hardware. Lord knows Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was definitely that for the system in 2021. Funny to think we're technically in the PS5's third year, isn't it? I'll admit, I'm generally not a fan of visual novels, and we know Goodbye Volcano High is going to most likely be that. It's listed as a narrative adventure if you look it up on Wikipedia. For those who vaguely remember this game, it was initially announced during the Future of Gaming event for the PS5 in June of 2020. The original release window was slated for sometime in 2021. In August of that same year, developer Co-op announced a delay into 2022. A further delay was announced in September of last year, putting the game's release window sometime in this year. Rumors indicate the middle of the year. Sometimes delays are great and the game turns out golden. Other times, they turn out to be turds. I'm hoping this game gets polished into a golden state. It's slated to release for PS4 and 5 along with PC. Fun fact, Co-op are an indie Canadian studio. I'll admit, I've never played Suikoden. It's kind of funny that Eiyuden Chronicles, the spiritual successor to this franchise, and Suikoden are both releasing in the same year. It's almost like Konami wanted to steal the thunder and be like, hey, look at us, we still make games. I'm incredibly excited being able to experience these games for the first time. When they originally came out, I wasn't into RPGs at all. I'm finally fixing this. No release date has been given yet, but it's available on all platforms. I have fond memories of Tintin since childhood. I used to get up early to watch the cartoons on public access television. Very fond memories indeed, and every year I would get a new Tintin book from my grandma at Christmas, again creating fond memories of the character. This game will be handled by indie developer Pendulo Studios and will be published by Microids. I'm excited for this game as the art style seems faithful to the source material. No gameplay footage has been released as of yet for this title. However, one can assume it's going to be either an action platformer or a point-and-click adventure title, as either would suit the Tintin vibes perfectly. The game has no slated release date and is expected to come out for Switch, PC, Xbox One and Series consoles, along with PS4 and PS5. This one will be a day one buy for me when it gets released. I have loved The Lord of the Rings since I was a preteen. It's in no small part thanks to the Peter Jackson trilogy that I love this franchise so much. Around the same time, I used to love playing The Two Towers, Return of the King, and The Third Age on my PS2. I would love if those games would get a re-release, however that is likely never happening because of licensing issues. It's a shame too that The Lord of the Rings The Shadow of Middle-earth duology will likely never see re-releases either. Those are really good strategy games, but I digress. I've never been super big into stealth games, which we know LOTR Gollum is going to be. The only ones I can think of that I truly love are the Sly Cooper games and Ghost of Tsushima. But a stealth-centric Lord of the Rings game centered around one of my favorite characters in the franchise, yeah, I'm down to at least try it. Also, I know that some of my fans are going to ask me to finally do the Gollum voice, so here we go.
Stupid fleshy services! Oh, Stephen Fishes!
Oh god, I hurt my throat doing that one. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. LOTR Gollum, like a lot of games on this list, has no concrete release date. However, it has been speculated this game will release in the first half of this year, as the developer Daedalic Entertainment said the game would only be delayed a few months when they announced the latest round of delays in November of last year via Twitter. And with this, we come to the final game and the final Falcom release in 2023. It's expected to release in the latter portion of this year and will be available for PS4, Switch, and PC. It's also a Trail spin-off that may become canonical at some point. It's also the first action RPG in the Trail series. Kurono Kiseki and Kurono Kiseki 2 Crimson Sin are both hybrid RPGs taking elements of both action and turn-based combat. In the case of those two games, though, you can choose modes at will. Of all the Falcom games getting localized this year, this is the one I'm least excited for, but I will definitely pick it up at some point. More than likely, I will grab it digitally. So, that's my list, guys. Let me know how many games from it you're excited for, and let me know in the comments what games you are excited for this year. As always, thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my Twitch and socials. Links will be in the description. Also, if you liked this video, I'm sure you'll like the videos popping up on screen right now.